Hey, what's up guys? Team Hard Life Capt.Eric Zertuche here. Alright, so Facebook lately, I've been seeing a lot of posts about what size weight to use, what size gauge to use, basically the surf weight is always the biggest problem of deciding what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Okay, a lot of the things that go into play are current, bait size, line size is a major one. And then you also got, variables such as, are you going to fish from a pier, are you going to fish in the rocks, or off a jetty, or, on the beach, on a rack, off a rack. There's so many other variables that get played into it, but at the end of the day, the hardest thing to do is decide which one to go with. Normally, my rule of thumb is I go with the smallest weight possible if I'm going to be running it back and forth and dealing a lot with pulling it in and out. However, if it's something that I want to stick and not to move, then I'm going to go with a little bit on the overkill side, but not overkill entirely. What I mean by that is I've got a certain weight size that I go up to, which is a 20 ounce and a 1/8 gauge that I'll normally run if I know there's a current out there and I don't want it to move. And I can still do very big baits on it. However, if I know that the current is ripping and I'm going to try and keep it out there for a long time, then I'll jump from that size all the way up to my 3-pound tank. Now, for everything less than that, it's all trial and error. It's based on those 4 things. How often are you going to be checking it? Your line size, your bait size, and how much current is out there. So I'm going to walk you through a few of the weights that I have here. All right, so again, like I said, I'll go with something as small as a pyramid on the scale right here because I know I'm going to be checking it a lot. But also too, if I'm fishing in an area that has a lot of seaweed, there's no reason to go with the surf weight because this pyramid will actually catch seaweed once it lands and kind of digs in. Also too, there are 2 types of pyramids. You got a 4-sided and a 3-sided. The 4-sided will roll a lot more quickly than the 3-sided will too. Obviously, it's the pyramid effect. This one has a lot more base where it will want to stay and catch on. So I've actually thrown this pyramid weight out on Bob Hall Pier against other types of surf weights just to show that a pyramid can stick just as well under proper currents. Also too, I was throwing light baits and stuff like that going for slot reds and slot drum. Now when I went up to my bull reds and stuff like that, then I jumped up to my 1/16 gauge, which is the lightest surf weight gauge that we sell here. This one is a real lightweight and the gauge, so that way when I cast out, I can pull it back in and check it periodically or more frequently because I'm using smaller baits that can get crabbed out or perched out before a big fish gets it. Now, if I know I'm going to be battling some heavier current, then I'll be throwing my 3/32 gauge, which is a medium gauge right here. This gauge weight will actually hold a lot harder than this one will. I mean, you actually have to pull on it to get it out. But this is for when I got a lot more current. And very, very rarely do I step up to a 1/8 gauge for using on my cast out gear. Now, when I'm kayaking, normally I'll start out with these 2 and move my way up. There was a rare occasion that there was hardly no current out there and I went with my 1/16 gauge and it held. However, I was only using 50-pound mono on that rod when I ran this weight. Now I'm using Jerry Brown hollow core and I'm doing 100-pound braid, but it's 20-pound mono. So I've ran them out again and they have worked brilliantly. However, too, like I said, I'm using lightweight test lines for when I'm doing these 2 right here. Anything that I go over, say 80-pound, 100-pound, then I'll use these 2 sizes and I'll move up from there. But again, too, like I said, you got to ask yourself those 4 questions. How often am I going to be checking it? What size bait? How bad is the current? And what size line am I using? Those are the 4 main deals you have to consider when choosing your weight and size. And a lot of times too, like I said, you're going to be different from somebody else. You're willing to battle it a little bit harder or longer to get your weight in than somebody else. So they can only light the path, but at the same time, you're going to be fishing with the gear at the end of the day. So you have to make the choice of what you want to fish with. Always take multiple sizes and you'll start to see, okay, you know what, I like this size better than this size. I like this gauge more than this gauge. But at the same time too, currents and wind and waves and bait sizes will also change and play a major part in you giving you the ability to keep your bait in place longer. So these are some of the selections I have. Like I said, I wanted to give y'all a quick rundown as to what makes me choose. And I'll tell you what, in my bucket I have all of these in multiple sizes and variations because of that fact. When I'm out there, that's when I make my final call. So that's one of the luxuries about being able to drive out on the beach. You can carry a lot more weight. You know, the guys out in Florida got to travel a long distance to take their gear, so they got to be a little more precise. But at the same time too, once they get to that position where they know what they need, they can reduce the amount of sizes that they have and what they're willing to work with. So, all right guys, thanks for watching.